Hi, everyone. We're trying something new. Of course, we can't meet corporately now. We're not real sure when we're going to be able to meet corporately again. And so, some sort of video process is going to have to be done for the services on Sunday mornings. But I wanted to do something in addition to that. I wanted to do kind of a midweek devotional thing. And what I believe I'm going to do mostly is share with you what God is saying to me, what I'm thinking through the life journals that we read. But today I'm going to do it a little bit different because, again, this is sort of the introduction, and I feel like we need to do something. It'll be familiar, but it's something else. And basically, we're looking at Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 to 27. And it says this. It says, "When he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and they woke him, and they said, 'Save us, Lord, we're perishing.' And he said to them, 'Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?' And then he rose and he rebuked the wind and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, 'What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?'" So we see Jesus getting into a boat, and we see his faithful disciples following him. Did they know what he was doing? I mean, again, they were there. They were dealing with the people that were there, teaching them, healing the sick, dealing with the folks who didn't believe. And they see Jesus get into a boat. And they follow, and they pull off, and they start heading for who knows where. And as is typical in the Sea of Galilee, a storm rose up, and it was a powerful storm to the point where even the professional sailors, the fishermen, they were afraid. They were afraid for their very lives. And after doing everything that they knew to do, they decided they were going to go wake up Jesus. Jesus, being asleep in the back of the boat, but not being unaware of what was going on, he gave them a little bit of a rebuke, and then he talked to the weather, and the weather settled down. Interesting. It caused the disciples, in fact, to question in a good way just who it was that they truly were following. And I was a professional sailor for 20 years. Most of you know that. I've been in some pretty rough seas and some pretty bad weather, but I was never afraid. And I was never afraid because I knew the crew that I served with. And I knew that even if the worst should happen, that we were going to be okay because we had each other's backs. It wasn't going to be fun necessarily, but we were going to eventually get through this thing because we all had a job and we knew what it was, and we would do that. So it's easy for me sometimes to sit back and to tease the disciples and ask myself if they knew that Jesus was asleep in the back of the boat. It tells me that he wasn't particularly concerned about these circumstances. We are currently in a really uncertain situation. We don't know how far the government is going to take this. We don't know how long we're going to have to deal with this situation. It is really, really uncertain. But God does. God knows all of that. I wish he'd share with us the answers, but he doesn't always do that, and that's his prerogative. We may have to weather this storm we will weather this storm in some form or another. We may have to wait it out. It may hit us full force. It may cause us to have to make even more sacrifices and tighten up a little bit more than we even do now. But God knows. Even Paul was shipwrecked on Malta. But the thing is that there is no plan B with God. None of this is taking him by surprise. He's not worried about what is he going to do next. He only knows one thing. And before we panic, before we get too afraid, remember that Jesus is with us. And this time, he's not asleep. He knows what's going on. And even if the worst happens, we know we can trust him. Whether he calms the storm or the storm in our hearts, we can trust Jesus. So, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to remain faithful, and we're going to continue to do what he calls us to do, because the church still has a job. So, wherever you can, however you can, be a follower of Jesus. He's worth it. All right, bless you guys. We'll talk to you again soon.